day 18 of my 3D tutorials. If you join me part way of this tutorial series, please follow my website www.andrewbooth3d.com. Halfway down contains my first 4 videos, and then to view the other tutorials just click on my tutorial tab, and then here contains 2 pages worth of my tutorials. If you want critiquing of your assets or any work you do, or if you in general looking for a 3D artist for your studio, please contact me on a.booth3d@outlook.com. I'm always happy to help, so if you require my assistance, I'm here. Alternatively, you can follow me on Twitter at AndrewBooth3D. I always do this housekeeping at the start of all my tutorials. So let's begin. Last time we was discussing about advanced filtering, like the dirt layer and stuff like that. And an overview of what I changed between the tutorials, because I added this framework. Today we'll be talking about exposing parameters for Games Engine and exporting. So first of all, I want to change my substance file. See, I don't like how this is operating here for the edgeware, so I'm just going to delete it. I personally do not like how it's transitioning between of the edgeware, so I'm just going to delete it completely. So I'm just going to delete all these nodes. Since I'm not using edgeware anymore, just delete it. And then reconnect the roughness. Reconnect the normal map, and then from here I need to reconnect the base node, which is located here. So just click and drag it along to reconnect it. Same with the metallic, just click and drag it to the metallic, which only leaves the ambient occlusion, which is located here. No. This is why you should have a good mapping of where your nodes is. Here it is. And just reconnect all the nodes. There. That's better. Yeah, I really did not like how that was showing up, so now we've done that, just rearrange the graph so it's a little bit more readable. Like so. You can keep that node there if you wanted it, but I personally do not like how it's transitioning, so we're left with this. Now you can add more filters if you want in the icon filters, but they actually put as mesh adaptives. You can add more, like edge damage, edge, dust, drip and rust, and stuff like that. That's if you want to. Sometimes you can overdo it, so don't always go overboard, just follow what's the medium. So now, since we tidied it up, I'm going to expose some of the nodes. You see, this is the beauty of Substance Designer. You can go back and you can be in the engine, and as long as you expose the parameters, you can change the texture and actually alter the texture while in the games engine. So you don't have to keep going back and forth between Photoshop and the 3D software that you use like Maya or even the games engine. You can just use Substance Designer and the games engine. This is the beauty of it. It's not only saves time, but it's hassle free for artists just to be able to change stuff. And also you can then call these parameters out in, like in-game codes, like Unreal Engine 4 uses blueprints. You can call these functions in Blueprint to change the texture, dynamically. I can't pronounce the word I'm after, but you can change it while within the game by using blueprints. So the one thing I'm going to expose is the control of the roughness. So I can using this slider, I can control the actual roughness of the map. I can make it this glossy, or I can make it this matte. This is a good default for me. I think this is a good default because it looks like polished varnished wood. So people think you expose this node here. That's not the case, because that's just the blend node. You actually expose the uniform color, good output here, and this little button here, expose. Output color, expose. You can keep it the same name, but I like to change it. Now you have to be very precise when you put input name, and remember what you type, because when you call it in like Unreal Engine 4, you have to have the correct spelling, what you spelt it here. So I put in salt roughness, and click OK. So now it's exposed it. As you can see, you cannot access this in the drop down menu on the side here. You have to go on to the actual graph menu, and it's exposed in input parameters, and it's exposed as a float 1. This means a constant 1. In Unreal Engine 4 you have constant 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 is a vector 3, constant 3 is like color, 1 is a slider. A float is basically in C++ terms, it's a slider, it's a very 0 to 1. So it's 0.1 to 0.0 to 0.1, 0.2, so on and so forth. This is a particular color float at the grayscale. You can have slider, but this is set to color. So now that's exposed. So when we go into the games engine, this is now can be called out to say, hey, I want it this color. Label, so it's a label. So I just put salt roughness control. What's the difference between label and indentifier? Indentifier is the name of the actual code to call this out, where label is the name that you see actual in the content browser. So it's not that, it's like what's known as basically an alias. Another thing I'm going to expose is the dirt layer, and in here I'm going to expose the dirt layer the dirt level, new, salt, dirt level. So I can control how much dirt is there. The random seed of the dirt layer, but as you can see, you cannot expose it. It's like when you go to the actual wood effect here, you've got random seed here, but you cannot expose it. You can never expose random seed in that manner, but there is a way around it. Now it's quite simple really. You just click the graph background, add the plus sign, call this wood seed. Now the way to think is, now once we got the identifier, and label it wood seed control, and now we've got these options, float 1, integer and stuff like that. Now integer is numbers, a whole number, where float is more than, is points, 0.1, 0.2, so on and so forth. Random seed is always a whole number, so integer. And the default is 2, because this is what this is set on. Since now we got the wood seed here, all you need to do is go to the wood seed, drop down and click on wood seed, and it's automatically exposed that parameter. That's another way to doing it that way. Same when you do the actual dirt layer, you've got to do the same again. So plus dirt seed, sorry, that's the wrong location, is actually here. Dirt seed, integer, and label it dirt seed control. Now click here, it's on 0. Let's change it a bit, there you go. Number 3 will do. Go back to dirt seed control and pick number 3. And then go back to the random seed and select dirt seed. There you are, and it's automatically exposed that. Now all these parameters are now exposed to what I want. To expose it, first of all save and publish. And it'll bring you to the desktop, and then you click new folder, and then sub, and click create, and then you click save, and okay, that's it. Now that's exported the actual the file, the substance file. It takes time, so I think I'll leave it here because it will take time to export it. Another thing what I do now is click the actual graph, rename this salt, and then export as bitmaps, and then select the file here and save all. And now it's saved them all as bitmaps. Now I'll leave this tutorial here, and then next time I'll explain to you why I saved all the files as bitmaps as well. Join me again tomorrow. Thank you for following me.